Gosh, Earl, we're losing members. You and I are the only survivors right here right now.
I'm sure everybody will be along before long.
3 minutes. Rodney came back. Or he came back. He'll be starting in about 1 minute. Maybe Daniel will be on board by then. I don't see him here yet.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Do you not have a video, Dan?
Just trying to make sure my connection
Okay.
stays connected. I'll turn it on once we start.
I guess we're ready to go. Following the order of the July 13th, 2020 general government meeting. First off, we need to approve the agenda as presented. Need a motion and support. Motion by Corey, supported by Rodney. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Next, we'll go to public comment. Michelle, do we have any public comment?
Yes, you do. Josh Gillette.
Okay. Go ahead, Josh. Mr. Collette. Is he there, Michelle?
Yeah, I'm working on getting him on. Just give me
Okay.
a second.
Thank you.
Go
Okay.
ahead, Josh.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Mr. Collette.
Well, I am here just basically to introduce myself. I know you are looking at individuals to bring on regarding just race relations and what we can do to improve as a county. And so I'm a pastor here in town in Jackson at Cascades Baptist Church. And just want to get more involved, want to help our city, help our county on this issue and just a variety of issues as well. So I'm just here to introduce myself, to be a support in one way or another, whether it is to be on this committee or to come alongside of you men and women just to make our county better and more welcoming to everybody.
Thank you. Appreciate you applying.
Yep.
Any further public comment?
Yep, we do have a couple today. Hang with me for a second. Okay, Chris Heidenberg.
Welcome, Chris. Mr. Heidenberg. You have 3 minutes.
All right, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, again, my name is Chris Heidenberg. I just want to thank you all for allowing me to be in this space as well. And I can speak highly for Josh Gillette as well, and his advocacy for just the fight against racial discrimination. That's exactly why I'm here as well, and just to apply for that ad hoc committee. And I just feel like it would be a real honor to stand with all of you in this fight against racial discrimination. So however I can help, I just have a personal call to this myself. I feel like the Lord has led me to this, and I'm thankful to do so.
Well, thank you for applying for the position. We appreciate your eagerness to get involved. Thank you.
Okay, now you have Mark or Eric Beta.
Thank you.
Assuming that, okay, you're on the phone. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Beta. Are you there, Mr. Beta?
Hold on. Should be good.
Good morning, Mr. Beta.
Good morning.
You have,
Yes,
this is public comment. You have 3 minutes, sir.
Okay. Well, good morning. First of all, to the Honorable Chairman Shotwell and the rest of the commissioners, we say good morning to you. Thank you for the opportunity to address the commissioners as well as the community as a whole concerning this very, I would say, sensitive topic here, dealing with anti-discrimination policy for the county. My experience and obviously dealing with these kind of conversation, it's intended obviously to provide a level of creating opportunity for members of the entire community, because community members are stakeholders of the county. And so part of such policies, like an anti-discrimination policy, is intended to provide one, obviously a level of transparency for how the county conducts its business as far as employment opportunities, promotion opportunity, and really just growth and development opportunity for members of the community. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. And so my interest in this is obviously I want to participate in this process because, one, I'm a vested member of the community, interested in seeing this community grow, to bring folks from all walks of life who want to see the county be successful. And so to be able to kind of represent these voices, particularly those who feel like they don't have a voice in the community, to be able to provide some sort of policy in the county that will address the needs across the board, and help develop promotion opportunity for those who are seeking promotion and qualified to have those opportunities, and for those who may not understand the process that such policy will provide clarity and transparency for opportunities. So I've had 15 years of working in the areas of anti-discrimination policy and diversity. And so I've spent my first 8 years or so working in that field for one of the largest utilities in the state of Michigan, which is right down the street from the chamber office. So that's where I started as a newly college grad, and worked through those and helped to develop policies where it provided insight to the CEO.
The time is up.
Mr. Bailey, your time is up. You're allowed 3 minutes. You want to finish up real quick, or are you done? Hello?
I muted him because
Oh,
the time was
oh.
up.
Okay,
All right, can you hear me?
yes.
Okay.
Your
I
3
guess
minutes was up. Do you have a closure there, or are you done? Sure.
I guess I can say in my last few words is that I'm very experienced in this field, both at the higher ed level, colleges, working with college students and university HR, and helping to develop policy to really help bring people and create diversity across the board, both in colleges as well as in the utility industry. So.
Thank you. We appreciate you applying.
That would be all for public comment.
Okay. Last call for public comment has been issued. We have none. Next up, we have the minutes from the June 8th meeting. I need a motion and support to approve them as presented. A motion by Corey. I need a support. Rodney, we have a motion support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
I believe there's an individual that did want to make comment. I see him on the meeting, Lucas Camacho.
Michelle, is Lucas?
Yep, sure. I can unmute him. It didn't show that he registered, but he is allowed to talk. Unmuted. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Good morning,
Yes.
Mr. Camacho. Yes, we can. You have 3
Sorry
minutes.
about that. I might have signed up incorrectly when I filled it out. But going back to what the first gentleman said, I'm just introducing myself, and I've been a lifelong resident in the county. I'm actually getting my real estate license right now currently, so I'm all in favor of looking at this, solving this issue, and making our county being a great place to live, work, and visit. And that's all I have to say. I appreciate your time.
We appreciate you applying and being involved. Thank you. Okay, board, we need to, I think our voting on the minutes was incomplete, so all in favor of passing you on board, Daniel? Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to item B. This would be our appointments. The appointments are for a ad hoc committee. It's the Anti-Discrimination Committee. We need 4 at-large residents. We have 13 that have applied. Let me read them off. Suzette Turple, Jamie Bernard, Josh Gillette, Eric Beda, Elizabeth Spots, Chris Heidenberg, Terry McKinnon, Kareem Johnson, Kimberly Quaynar, Amanda McCabe, Valerie Herr, Lucas Camacho, and Keisha Hamilton. There are 13 applicants. We need 4 positions filled. I'd like to name one where right here is, I'd like to name Chris Heidenberg. Go ahead, Rodney.
I'd like to nominate Eric Vita.
Do we need to vote on these one at a time, or we're we got 13 out there.
I'd suggest one at a time, Phil.
Okay, we'll vote on Beta now then. I mean, Chris Heidenberg. Corey, yes. Who's counting, Carrie Ann? Okay, 5-0, Chris Heidenberg. Next nomination? Rodney,
I'd nominate Eric Vita.
okay. All in favor of Eric Vita to go into the full board? Okay, all 5 unanimous. Thank you. I need more motions. Earl, go ahead.
I nominate Valerie Herr.
Okay, I like that. She's in my district. Okay, all in favor of Valerie Herr? Okay, it's 4 in favor. Daniel, are you a no?
Well, not a no, I just don't want to vote to nominate that person before having the opportunity to nominate someone else.
Okay. Go ahead, Daniel. You want to nominate somebody?
Are you guys finished with that one, or?
We're not hearing you, Daniel.
Are you hearing me now?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was asking for clarification if the nomination for Valerie Herr was completed.
well, we voted and we had 4.
Okay, I would nominate Keisha Hamilton.
Well, do you want to vote on Valerie Herr?
Wait, what?
We had called for a vote on Valerie Herr. Earl, do you?
Right, then you
what-
asked me for a nomination, so where are we at, I guess, is what I'm curious of.
Was in the middle of voting for Valerie Herr. Earl had his hand up. Go ahead.
Darius also has his
Kowalski.
hand up, just FYI.
Pardon me?
Darius has his hand up as well.
Oh, he's not on my screen. I'm sorry. Earl, you had your hand up for a minute.
Well, Mr. Chair, just I suppose a point of order, we do have a nomination on the floor, and I guess I would advocate for having a vote with respect to Ms. Herr. Thank
Okay,
you, sir.
thank you, sir. Okay, we, all in favor, we'll do it again. All in favor of Valerie Herr? There's 4. Daniel, you vote? You want to vote?
So I guess I'm confused. Am I voting no, or like what's like? I'm not sure what we're doing.
We're finishing up Valerie Herr. Her's chance. She was nominated and she's got 4 yes votes. Are you a yes or no or abstain or what?
So are you calling for the no votes now? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, yes.
So
You're muted yourself, Daniel.
Yep. So no, I would be a no on that one.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, Valerie goes forward with 4-1 vote. Daniel, you had somebody you want to nominate.
I would nominate Keisha Hamilton.
Okay. Okay, all in favor of Keisha Hamilton? Say yes or vote yes. Okay. Thank you, Daniel. All in favor, all no votes for Keisha Hamilton. Okay, she didn't make it. Need another commissioner here. Need another nomination. Darius, are you up? I can't see you. You're not on my screen.
Hi, can you hear me?
Okay, hear you. I can't see you.
Okay, so I know I'm not a voting member on this board, but I wanted to at least offer a recommendation for a few individuals that have applied. And so I would recommend Keisha Hamilton, Eric Beta, Terry McKinnon, Josh Gillette, and Chris Heidenberg as viable members of our community that I personally feel would do a wonderful job to see the true message and intent of this project go forward. I have nothing further.
Okay, thank you. We'll bring them forward to committee. You can nominate them off the floor if they're not on the list that goes forward to the full committee. Nomination, Corey, you had your hand up.
Make a nomination for Lucas Camacho.
Okay, Lucas Camacho, he called in. All in favor of Lucas Camacho? Thumbs up. Daniel and Earl don't have votes yet. Is that a yes, Earl? You've muted yourself.
I am not voting yes, sir.
Okay. All no votes for Daniel Camacho? Daniel? Okay, two no's. Okay, Camacho goes to the full board. Next Tuesday night. Let's see. We have to, okay, need,
That gives you four. That gives you
That
four,
gives you four.
Mr. Chair.
I've got Camacho, her, Beta. Who's our fourth?
Heidenberg.
Okay, we nominated Heidenberg. Okay. All right. And then others could be nominated from the floor Tuesday night if you didn't get you guys. Okay, that brings to close. The three commissioners are to be determined. Let me move to my next item.
Can I just ask for a point of clarification right quick?
Go ahead.
I'm just curious when we plan to nominate the three commissioners for this committee as well.
Well, my notes say to be determined. I don't think anybody has come forward and volunteered yet.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
if a commissioner wanted to, they could now make themselves available or nominate someone or,
Okay. So do we have all commissioners here that have the opportunity to step forward, or just the five plus Darius? Any commissioners wish to be on this committee as commissioners?
I would nominate Darius Williams.
Okay. All in favor of Darius Williams on the committee? Okay, there's one. Thank you.
Thank you for the nomination.
You're welcome, Darius. We'll leave this open till next Tuesday night, I guess, and everybody consider of what your schedule is. And we got one commissioner. We're still in search of two more. Uh-oh. Second, I lost my meeting.
Mr. Chair, I know I'm not a voting member of this council, but can I ask a question?
Who is this, please?
This is Darius.
Okay, go ahead, Darius.
So just a quick question. In the event that we arrive next Tuesday and we don't have a number of commissioners serve on council, what do we do forward?
We'll ask Chairman Shotwell at that point if we don't have any. I guess he has the option.
Can we ask?
Recruiting.
How about we ask?
You're breaking up badly.
Can we ask Mr. Overton to answer that question?
Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Darius, I and other commissioners, I would hope between Tuesday night and now, we could come up with the other two commissioners that would be willing to serve. I think we probably will be able to do that. If not, then Darius, the committee will begin meeting and begin its work. And as commissioners feel the need to get involved, they will. But I've had conversations with a number of commissioners who are willing to serve and other commissioners who have told me that they're too busy and that their schedule won't allow them to participate. And so with that in mind, I will continue to look. If by default, I will serve. But I would prefer for this to be a committee of commissioners first who want to serve, and we could move forward from there. Okay, so congratulations, Darius, on the recommendation. And I know there are other commissioners who said that they're willing to serve, and I'm sure we'll have their nominations by Tuesday night.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, I got my meeting back. We will go next to Human Services. We need to do a restated cafeteria plan, amendment number 3. That would be you, Richard?
Yes, can you hear me, Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir. I can even see you.
Okay, great. Yeah, this is, Commissioners, this is straightforward. I'm asking that it be moved on to the full board. This is just formalizing our cafeteria plan to allow for qualifying medical expenses be reimbursed under Code Section 125, and it's expanded amount of expenses that can be reimbursed. It's been in effect for a while. We just need to formalize it by signing the amendment in our plan. We have communicated this already to employees. The other piece is a modification of change in status rules, and that's basically COVID related with all the circumstances impacting workers. The IRS have issued several notices and giving individuals the ability to change more frequently or as needed than is currently allowed. So this is all permissible IRS regulations. It has no financial impact. This is with all pre-tax dollars for our employees. I'm asking that this committee move it on to the board so the board chair can sign the amendment and resolution.
Thank you, Richard. Any questions for Richard, commissioners? Let's see, Richard said pretty straightforward. Okay, I need a motion and support. I need a motion and support to send this forward. Okay, we have Mr. Pulaski and Mr. Walls. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Daniel? Votes unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Thank you. Next, we move on to finance. Welcome, Cecilia. Are you there?
If I may chime in real quick, Mr. Chair, I believe that item 4D and E are duplicates. Is that not correct? We
Right.
need to.
So, yeah. So item D was actually a June memo that actually has been replaced by today's memo.
Oh.
So which one are we using?
We're going to be looking at E.
D? Okay.
E. Elephant.
E. E?
Yes.
Okay. E is an egg.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Great. So this budget amendment, what I'm asking for is in the Treasurer's Department's expenses have been recorded in the delinquent tax fund, which is totally appropriate because of the administrative work that's involved with collecting the delinquent taxes. But because those expenses are recorded in the delinquent tax fund, a budget is not required based on the state of Michigan's budgeting act because it's considered an enterprise fund. So what I'm requesting of the committee is that we change that process and go ahead and create a budget in the general fund for all of the Treasurer's Department's expenses, and we transfer the funds from the delinquent tax fund to cover those expenses. So the
We've lost you, Cecilia.
I'm sorry.
Are you there?
I'm here.
We're losing your audio.
I'm sorry. So what was the last thing you said? I said that you heard. So basically what I'm just asking, I would like to request a budget to be created in the general fund for the Treasurer's Department for all their expenses so it's transparent, and the funding being transferred from delinquent tax to cover it.
Okay. Is that's all of your presentation there?
Yes, that's.
Okay.
Give-
Okay, we have some questions for you, Cecilia. Mr. Pulaski.
Mr. Chair, I'll move the budget amendment and then I have a question.
Okay. You moved, Corey supported. Go ahead
Okay,
with your
thank you.
question, sir.
So I just want to make sure the treasurer is involved with this process, understands what's going on, has no problems with it. Everything is good with her.
That is all correct, yes.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for your question. Any further questions or comments? Okay, I'll proceed to vote. Need a motion and support. Passes unanimously. Thank you, board. Thank you, Cecilia. We have one more now, our monthly report from May.
Okay, yes, so we're going. You said if you go ahead and look on page 4.
Could you, Cecilia, could you start over? We lost the first part of your conversation.
Okay, so when I'm asking you to go ahead and turn to page 4 of the financial report to look at the revenue page. And I have made notes of the different departments we've really been looking at over the past couple of months, looking at their revenues compared to their budgets to show what the shortfall is for those departments. So I want you to be aware. So that's something I've added for May, so we can kind of keep track of that. So with that being said, that totals about $440,000. And then because of the furloughs that we've had through May, we had about a savings of $100,000. So we're kind of looking at about $340,000. We're still trying to recoup for the general.
Okay, you're saying, did the money come in or it hasn't come in?
So so we're still short about $340,000 with the furloughs. But now we have the reduced hours program. And based on the, I don't have a final report to share with you what those totals are. Mike might know right off. We're really comfortable that the reduced hours program is going to cover the shortfall. Another positive thing that I was looking at with June, our revenues have picked up, which is very good. So we had like an additional, maybe 50,000 additional shortfall for June, but that's it's very positive compared to what it was for.
Okay, shortfall is reduced because of the
COVID.
COVID, yes. Okay.
But we're
Shortfall revenue.
Yeah, but we're starting to see the revenues come in. Revenues came in a lot better in June than they had in previous, which, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's opening up.
All right, thank you there. Any questions for Commissioner Pulaski?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just trying to refresh my memory. These financial statements would have reflected the voluntary furloughs we addressed at the April meeting. But still we have June and July furloughs to account for. And remind me how much per month we anticipate saving on those 2 months?
I don't have that number in front of me, but in total at the end of May, it looked like it was around $100,000 we had saved in total.
Did you say
If I may.
100,000?
Go ahead, Mike. Thank you.
I was going to say, if I heard the question correctly, you were asking about July and August?
Right. No. June and July. June and July. These financials are for May, right?
Right.
Yes.
So June and July, we anticipate saving how much? I just forget the number on the furlough.
I thought it was a safe number. It was like 150,000 each month, so it works out to maybe a little over 300,000.
Okay,
it should be enough to balance us.
Well, it gets us close. I think Cecilia mentioned that we were at 400 and some odd thousand, still a little short, but 150,000 a month for 2 months makes us a lot closer, right? Am I right, Cecilia? Am I saying that correctly?
So basically, we had 440,000 shortfall. With the furloughs through May, we had a savings of 100,000.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I think that addresses my question. In other words, the actions we have taken with respect to June and July are going to narrow that gap.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
I feel very comfortable with that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Plesky. Any other questions, comments? Appears to be none. Thank you for your report, Cecilia.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on, but no questions. We're moving on to 4G, Administrator Controller. Our co-pro contracts.
Yes. We have been working with CoPro for about 2.5 years. You remember a month or 2 months ago, we renegotiated our contract with them to provide a little bit different form of service. We have an opportunity to host a contract with them, and keep in mind, CoPro is similar to the My Deal program, where there's a host of a contract. We're anticipating a great need for PPE throughout the state once schools start to reopen and other private entities in government and schools and those types of things are required to provide masks and hand sanitizer and those types of things as they reopen. So CoPro had a need for someone to host the contract for the PPE for entities throughout the state of Michigan to utilize, and we volunteered to do that. They followed all of our purchasing requirements. They put the bid out and received many responses. They analyzed the bids and are providing us with those entities that they believe can provide in a timely manner and at a reasonable cost throughout. Again, it's not just for us in the event that we need some, but it would be for any entity that's a member of CoPro, again, similar to My Deal. So the first 3 contracts are listed. Libra Industries, Connect 6, and Global Office Solutions are the first 3 contracts that are coming through. Each entity had an opportunity to bid on all of the products that we needed, such as face masks, hand sanitizer, or they could bid on just one of the items. So there's going to be several more contracts coming through. And in fact, in my emails this week, she sent me 4 or 5 more contracts that she would like to have approved. So I'll add those to the next agenda. So some of these entities will be providing only one product. Some of them may be providing all of the products. They're going to be a little bit different for each entity. But again, we anticipate there's going to be a great demand. So there'll be several contracts coming through. Any questions?
I have one.
Yes.
This isn't just items that Jackson County needs, correct?
Correct. The ones I'm sorry.
Go ahead. We're buying for the state of Michigan or all counties?
So anybody who's a member of CoPro, similar to the My Deal program, if you pay your annual membership to the My Deal program, you can purchase deals off of My Deal. So once we host this contract, we're not required to buy anything. But once we host the contract, other entities that are members have the opportunity to utilize these contracts and purchase off of them. So it could be school districts, it could be other government entities that could utilize these opportunities to purchase off of these contracts.
Okay, they use their own purchasing power. We don't have to purchase and resell?
No, they would not use our money. We wouldn't have anything to do with those entities purchasing off of these contracts. They would do it all themselves. They're just entitled to the savings and the guarantee of providing these products.
Okay, thank you. That's my question. Any other questions, committee members, commissioners? Go ahead, Commissioner Plesky.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. And, this looks like a good idea. I guess I wonder why it is that Jackson County, this is thinking out loud, I wonder why it is that Jackson County has to put this together and why it didn't become part of CoPro's normal process. I guess the main thing I have a concern about is whether we have any exposure, we as a county have any exposure or guarantees or anything like that to anyone that would purchase under this program.
So what CoPro has established this procurement agency similar to like I said, the My Deal, I keep referencing My Deal because it's set up very similar to that. So you don't have an obligation to purchase from them, but they need a host for the contract, and then other entities can purchase off of that contract once you have a host. So they offered us the opportunity to be the host. The benefit for us, one of the differences with CoPro and My Deal, there's an administration fee that's charged for all the contracts and all the purchases off those contracts. That administrative fee goes to the state of Michigan, and they actually make millions of dollars a year off of CoPro contracts. I'm sorry, off of My Deal contracts. The difference is CoPro has a smaller administrative fee. Theirs is 1.5%. If it's a contract that can be bid statewide, and a portion of that, I believe it's like 0.5% or something, goes back to the host of the contract. So we have an opportunity to have a small amount of that administrative fee that would come back to us as the host of the contract. And that's why CoPro asked us to host the contract.
So we make a little sliver of a fee, and other people pay the 1.5%. We're not obligated nor do we guarantee the payment of anyone else's 1.5% to the vendors, right?
Correct. The 1.5% administrative fee goes to CoPro, and then they divvy it up once they receive that fee. So yeah, we wouldn't be involved in any of that.
But if some other purchaser doesn't pay the fee, we're not obligated to pay it.
No, no.
That's all my questions, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions, commissioners? Okay, if not, it's time for a motion and support. Send this to the full committee. Commissioner Kennedy, Commissioner Waltz. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Thumbs up. Thank you. Passes unanimously. Thank you, board.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item 4H, an administrator controller. This is a policy update.
We're continuing to try and update our policies, get back into the swing of things now that we're reopening and increasing our services again. So we're trying to get back into our swing of having policies updated on a monthly basis. So this one came across, and it's just some updates to the language, and the intent or reason for the policy does not change. It's just updating some of the language.
Okay, commissioners, any questions on the update? Tony?
With this change, we're deleting termination of employment. We're recalling it separation of employment. So if you go to the second paragraph, second sentence, at the time of termination, well, let's change that from termination to separation, so it's consistent. Does that make sense?
Yes, we can make that change.
Well, let's be consistent with the wording. If it's not a termination policy anymore, then don't state at time of termination. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Tony. Any further comment, commissioners? If not, a motion and support is in order. Need a motion and support. Motion made by Commissioner Pileski, supported by Commissioner Waltz. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Passes unanimously. Okay, we'll move on to
Bill?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Tony.
I didn't hear in the motion that you were actually making this change. It appeared to me it was a motion voted on and approved to approve it as presented. Is that what you intend to do?
With your correction, correct?
Okay, that wasn't stated in the motion.
Okay. We'll redo the motion. Motion would be to, you said correct, Commissioner Pileski? The corrected?
So Mr. Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, I'll state the motion more precisely. I move to adopt the amendment of the policy 3245 with the amendment of separation in place of termination where it appears in the policy.
Thank you, Mr. Pulaski. Supported by Commissioner Kennedy. Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Again, passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item 5, other business. We have the claims for June 1st through the 30th. Need a motion and support to pay the claims? We need a motion and support. Oh, we got it. Okay, now we're gonna vote on it. Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Passes unanimously. I think we're supposed to stop by the 6th floor and sign those. Remind everybody.
Yes, they're available here.
All righty. We have no other minutes. You see the August reporting schedule. Last I knew there was nothing on it. We will return to public comment. Do we have any
Unless
public?
there's on the phone, if you would like to speak, please raise your hand. Otherwise, there is no other public comment. No hands are raised.
All right, no other public comment. Committee member comments? Any commissioners have comments? Daniel?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick comment, and I guess maybe a question for clarification if somebody might be able to answer this for me. Just want to let the record reflect that in my initial motion for the county to look into creating a new policy, it was a unanimously supported for the county to look at an equity policy, as well as that is what was discussed in the resolution that was failed. However, it was also stated in the amendment that Corey Kennedy made for it to be an equity policy. So we have called the committee anti-discrimination committee. There's been a lot of talks of an anti-discrimination policy being created. I would just like the record again to reflect that the original request was for a equity policy, not anti-discrimination. While I do believe that we probably do need an anti-discrimination policy for the county of Jackson, the request that was made was for an equity policy. Very similar, not the same. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner Mahoney. Mr. Administrator, how do we resolve this, sir? Do we leave it as is? Do we change the name?
Well, actually, Mr. Mahoney is correct in the sense that when he first made the motion at, I believe, a study session and you guys approved, that was then. Then it went on to a resolution where there was multiple resolutions, and ultimately you adopted not the resolution that Mr. Mahoney put forward, but a different resolution. And then Mr. Kennedy made an amendment, but in his amendment, he did not use those words. Prior to, meaning Mr. Kennedy's preamble, he did use those words. But when he actually made the motion, because I pulled up the tape and everything on it to be clear about it, that wasn't the case. And the resolution was clear, and what it called for was anti-discrimination, and that's why we use those words.
Thank you, Mr. Administrator. Commissioner Kennedy.
Mike's correct by technicality. I went back and reread how it went. I did state a racial equity policy prior to making the amendment, but I did not include it in my amendment. Obviously, I thought it was racial equity, but I hadn't read the amendment the resolution that I was amending to. I just want to clarify that, but I certainly said it prior to my amendment. And I feel that was my intent, but I guess procedurally I didn't do it properly.
Commissioner Mahoney, you had your hand up.
Yes, again, just for, I'd like this to be reflected in the record, that the motion that was unanimously supported still stands, that I would like to see a equity policy come from the county. So you can do what you want to do with this anti-discrimination committee that you guys are creating, and appointing people to. Do whatever you wish with that policy. I wish you luck. I hope it comes back great. I will support any type of anti-discrimination policy that derives from that committee, in hopes that it is very robust and provides us some actual direction. However, my request still stands. This saying that I would like to see a equity policy still stands the same regardless of what happened between here and there. It was unanimously supported. And I would still like to see that come forth, whether it come from the administrator's office or a committee, or whether this committee that we are appointing now simultaneously comes up with two. I would also like clarification on if this committee is going to be a paid or non-paid committee. Thank you very much.
Well, these are Commissioner, thank you, Commissioner Mahoney. These are decisions I certainly am not going to make the chair of a committee, but correctly, we voted for an anti-discrimination committee. That's what's on record, and I think we have to follow that, and we can't negotiate on that. We'd have to go back up and do it again. So is that all your comments, sir?
Well, just for clarification purposes, I was asking the question on if this committee is paid or non-paid to the administrator. I would like an answer to that question. And just in rebuttal to going back to the board, it's been unanimously voted on that the board produce and present for consideration a equity policy as well. So a equity policy is not the same as an anti-discrimination policy that we voted on a resolution for very clearly. I absolutely agree. We voted on, and if the amendment did not include equity, then that's absolutely fine. I guess we'll have to produce two different policies because they're for two different things. But thank you very much. And I would like an answer on if this committee is going to be paid or not paid from the administrator, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other committee member comments? I see no further. Go ahead.
So is that question not going to be answered now, or I'm sorry?
It isn't up to me. We'll have to take that up with the administrator.
Right. Well, I'm just asking you to give the administrator the opportunity to answer the question.
You're broken up, Daniel. All broke up.
I'm just asking for you to give the administrator the opportunity to
Okay.
answer the question before we end this.
I
meeting.
heard our chair's voice chirping. Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Phil, when it comes to payment for committees, under the policy, commissioners have the right to be paid to serve. They can bill mileage. They can choose not to bill. Okay, so that would make them a non-paid person. When it comes to ad hoc committees and members of that, they're not paid. So the volunteers are not paid. The commissioners can choose whether they want to bill or not. And if they choose to not bill, then they're not paid. They can bill for their mileage or they cannot bill for their mileage. It's a personal decision by each commissioner. It's not a decision that's made arbitrarily by us as the Board of Commissioners. Now, we can strongly recommend, we can strongly suggest, we can use every means necessary to verbally convince commissioners that they should not bill for this committee and they should serve on it willingly and at the behest of the community. If you want to bill, like I said, that's your choice. If you choose not to, then you choose not to. That is the way it is with all committees. I know in the past, the Fair Board volunteered not to collect any per diems for a number of years. I know that in the past, other bodies have chosen not to collect per diems. That's a decision that can be made within that committee also. They can make a statement if they would like to, coming out of that committee, that they're receiving no remuneration. So, but it's something, again, like I said, we can strongly recommend, okay? But we cannot, under the rules, be able to do that. I anticipate nobody willingly to submit a remuneration for serving on this committee. I am sure that the pressure of this group alone would be able to do that. That's where we stand with payment. On whether or not this committee should produce 1, 2, 3, or 4 different policies based on what we need or feel we need within the community. I believe this committee will meet and produce a recommendation, and they will give this body recommendations to vote on. The task is for them to help us solve the different issues within the community that haven't been solved in the past number of years. I think that they will be able to produce what needs to be done. We don't need to be writing this for them. We need to put forward to them a challenge of producing. And I believe the people that we have nominated at the moment can do that. They're very strong people, they're professional people, and they know what they're doing. So with that in mind, let's wait and see what they produce. That would be the better result. If we don't like it, we can send it back and make a new committee. If we don't like the results, we can meet as a group of 9 and write the document ourselves. We wrote our strategic plan. We wrote other plans for this organization. That's how it works. If we don't like the result of the ad hoc committee, we turn around and we produce a document that we feel works best for Jackson County. We're the ones that are elected to represent it. And we don't get to put our signature on a document that forces other townships or cities or villages to do things. We only get to do things here. So we've got to work within the parameters of the law. And that's where we're going to go with this. And if the committee recommends different things, we can all vote on them. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Phil, you're muted.
Go ahead, Commissioner Pulaski.
Along the lines of this discussion, Mr. Chair, I'm going to offer a motion. You can rule me out of order if you choose. But I would move that we make plain to those who would be appointed to the ad hoc committee that there is not to be compensation. And if they choose not to move forward with their applications, they can know that in advance prior to Tuesday's meeting. I would put that in the form of a motion, sir, if you would accept it.
Do I have support on that? Okay, Commissioner Kennedy supported that. All in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed? Passes 4-1. Did you get that, Carrie Ann? Okay. Mr. Administrator, we are allowed to make a motion and pass a motion under commissioner comment. Okay, so I don't need to back up. Okay, any more commissioner comment?
Mr. Chair, I'm not a voting committee of the council, but may I address the council?
Is this Darius?
Yes, it is.
Okay, go ahead, Darius.
Very briefly, just in light of Commissioner Mahoney's comments as it relates to the project in which we're working on, I'm wondering now if the community members that have applied are fully aware that we are not creating or that we are creating an anti-discrimination policy versus what the anticipation of the project was in the beginning. So I'm wondering if we need to send a letter, phone call, or something to inform them as to what we are truly doing at this time.
Commissioner Kennedy.
The application that I saw and went over, let me look at them all again. I believe on them clearly state what they were applying for. Let me make sure I'm,
I was looking it up myself.
yeah, it's under name of board or commissions to which appointment is requested. And it says Anti-Discrimination Policy Committee on each app that I'm looking at. I'm going through to see if there's any that don't have that.
Okay, we're set. Go ahead, Tony.
The application put in by Josh Gallant, he says, name a board or commission which your appointment is requested. And he put down racial equity policy. The
You're
other
right.
one, the other one put down anti-discrimination or non-discrimination policy, anti-discrimination policy. So one of them, I'm flipping through these as we go. Also, Elizabeth Spots said she was applying for a racial equity committee, which we're not forming that, not based on.
Going down the list, right? There's a mix now that I see it. The first two applicants was for the anti-discrimination. And now I'm seeing a few that wrote racial equity. Another one that named it something else.
The invitation that went out to the public to solicit applications for joining, how was that solicitation worded?
So the advertisements that went out, not only to the news media, but that we sent out to some of the our community partners, they use the word anti-discrimination resolution, anti-discrimination committee. So it's consistently in the advertisements that went out. An ad hoc committee will be developed. And so it's anti-discrimination policy and anti-discrimination resolution is what was used in those notices.
Okay, so some individual applying for using their own creative wording for something else really doesn't impact us.
My only thought is maybe they had heard things throughout the community or, you know, rumors, or maybe they heard Commissioner Mahoney's initial request at the study session. So, you know, they may have heard different things, but the consistently the information that went out was for anti-discrimination.
Thank you.
Okay, any further commissioner comment? I never had so much before.
Lastly, Mr. Chair, just for the record, I'd also like to point that as a commissioner and member of this committee, I will not be requesting additional pay.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Williams. Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you, board.